Okay, welcome back. So this is our final plenary. And traditionally, we also have a closing keynote. And I will ask Ms. Shanti to actually introduce to you our closing keynote speaker. After that, we're gonna hear some final reflections from colleagues as well as from government representatives. We have a small video for you. We have a mini evaluation and a few other announcements. So please bear with us. So we want to be finished by 1 o'clock, and we're gonna finish with a joint farewell lunch in our executive dining room. So that's what ahead of us. So I hand over to Ms. Shanti, and we have a very special speaker, I realized.
Hi, welcome to this closing session. I have the greatest pleasure in introducing Shelli Brunswick, who is the Chief Operating Officer of Space Foundation in the United States, for the closing keynote today. Shelli is currently one of the 55 women selected globally by the United Nations.
Test.
So Shelli is one of the 55 women selected globally by the United Nations Office of Outer Space Affairs as a member for its Space for Women program. She was named the 2021 Global Technology Leader by Women Tech Network and the 2020 Diversity and Inclusion Officer and Role Model for the year. So you may be wondering what space got to do with education. When you hear her closing note, you will appreciate that. We thought it's actually a befitting closing keynote. As one of the objectives of the forum is to really open new frontiers, right? New approaches, new frontiers for education policy and education investments. I mean, to quote Star Trek, where no man has gone before. So let's go to new directions and new areas to make education more impactful for our region. So Shelli has also an interest in space and STEM education and promoting the participation of more women and girls in STEM and related to space technology. So over to the keynote speaker.
Ayan. Hello, I'm Shelli Brunswick, Chief Operating Officer at Space Foundation, the G100 Global Chair for Space Technology and Aviation, and a Forbes Technology Council contributor. It's an honor and a pleasure to join you for the 10th Asian Development Bank International Skills Forum. And we're going to be focusing on a new era of digitalized and climate resilient human and social development. Today, I'd like to share some information about the global space ecosystem and how space is part of our everyday life, and space is for all of us. So I have some slides I'd like to share with you. So give me a moment as I bring those up on the screen. Here we have a vacant. So again, space is for all of us, and we're looking at how space benefits humanity right here on planet Earth. So we do think about space as we look at going to space. And when you look at 2022 in review, you can see how we were receiving information and images from the James Webb Space Telescope about the earliest moments and formation of our galaxy. We also heard a lot about the Artemis Accords and how we as humanity are going to return to the moon and then go on to Mars. In 2023, we continue to see that theme of James Webb Space Telescope sending us back images and information. We're talking about the International Space Station being decommissioned in 2030 and how commercial space stations will take its place. And we're looking at continued science experiments going off planet Earth, such as the European Space Agency's Jupiter Icy Moon Explorer. So we're continuing to see research, continuation to the moon, and on to Mars and beyond. So you may be thinking that space is all about the moon, Mars, and beyond, but I really want to wrap that back to how space benefits us right here on Earth, and what are those real opportunities for the workforce and the ecosystem of today and in the future. So according to the Space Foundation's annual space report, the global space economy in 2022 was $469 billion. And it's projected to be over $1 trillion by 2030 and over $3 trillion by 2040. And the most exciting part of that is over 77% of that space economy is commercial. It means it's products and services that we're using every day. It means it's products and services that are created by individuals right here on planet Earth, creating jobs right here. So how is space part of our everyday life? Well, we can all think about our amazing cell phones. You know, when you take those pictures, those images, many of your cell phones are using NASA imaging technology. You're also using GPS and algorithms. We're using Zoom technology to record this video. Telecommunications all came from the space industry. So we're looking at how space innovation has done tech transfer to benefit life on Earth. We can look at healthcare applications with hearing aids and pacemakers, mammogram detection, and more. But today I really want to focus on the Sustainable Development Goals and how space is part of each and every one of those Sustainable Development Goals that were agreed to in 2015 by all the UN member states. Now, if you go to the United Nations Office of Outer Space Affairs, .org, on the top of the menu, it will drop down and it will highlight how space technology is part of each and one of those 17 Sustainable Development Goals. At Space Foundation, we're really focused on quality education, gender equality, partnerships, and innovation. And again, I'll just briefly touch on how space is part of those Sustainable Development Goals and helping us solve those challenges here on Earth with food security. We also look at clean water and sanitation. And we know if we can create clean water and sanitation, many times it solves several of the other Sustainable Development Goals, such as poverty, quality education, gender equality. The reason I highlight that on this slide is we know that many women in Africa, women and girls, have to walk 4 to 10 miles each way to retrieve water for their families. And many times that water can be contaminated, meaning it makes them and their animals sick. But one nonprofit created by Ruby Malambo on this slide has created a way to drill boreholes or wells within a 30-minute walk from villages in Africa. Now women and girls can walk to the well within 30 minutes and return, and now they can still go to school and get jobs, helping to create quality education, gender equality, and reduce poverty. We're also looking at how space technology is helping to solve and create affordable and clean energy. One of the most visible forms of space energy is solar panels. We've used solar panels for decades for the space industry, and we're now looking at how can we deploy solar arrays to harness the sun's energy and beam that down to Earth. So there are many forms of space technology that are helping us create affordable and clean energy. But what I want to pivot to is how space is part of our everyday lives and how it's different from the 1960s, the Apollo era, to how it is today for the Artemis era. Now, when we think back to the 1960s, we were focused on putting a man on the moon, and we were using some very direct forms of technology, going to the moon and returning. But now we can look at how technology trends to watch and emerging technology are all interrelated with space technology. We certainly have some technologies that relate to space exploration, such as debris removal, orbital debris removal, satellite servicing and repair. But we're also looking at artificial intelligence, robotics, biotechnology, energy and energy storage, miniaturization. These are all separate sectors of the economy, and they also intersect space technology. So if you're interested in any of these, there's ways to marry that with space innovation. And we can also look at how space is part of every sector of our economy. There's certainly on the far right-hand side that space is part of the space economy, launch vehicles, rockets, satellites, but it's also part of all these other industries that we see: agriculture, energy, education, Internet of Things, healthcare, public safety, and more. So for those of you in the audience who are listening today, you can really open the aperture on how space is part of our everyday lives, and everything we're doing today has a connection point with the space ecosystem. So now again, let's go back and look at that workforce from the 1960s, the Apollo era to now. So when we think back to the Apollo era, again, we were focused on putting a man on the moon and safely returning him to Earth. We can look at that workforce. It was primarily 2 countries that were in the space industry. Now, today, there are more than 92 countries that have space agencies and are operating in space. Back in the 1960s, we were looking at a government workforce. Today, we have a commercial sector. We also look back to the 1960s, we were primarily STEM professionals, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Today, we need all skill sets in the space industry. And you can look from this photo on the left, back in the 1960s, it was primarily a male workforce. And today we can fast forward and we know that the workforce is diverse. Now there were women as well as diversity in the workforce of the 1960s. I have some pictures here. There is one woman in mission control for this Apollo 11 launch. And we know from the movie Hidden Figures that there were some amazing scientists and STEM professionals that were part of the future of the space industry, such as Dr. Katherine Johnson. But again, now today we're looking at that diversity of the workforce. Multiple regions of the world. Again, 2 countries in the 1960s, more than 92 countries today, multi-generational, and gender equality. We can also think of those skill sets. We still need astronauts and rocket scientists, but now we also need entrepreneurs and investors, astronauts and artists, technicians, teachers, program managers, policymakers. We need every career field now in the space industry. So how do we bring people into the space industry and help them know that there's an opportunity to them? So we use a 5-step workforce development roadmap of awareness, access, training, connecting, and mentoring. The first step is you have to be aware that there's an opportunity for you to be part of the space industry. So again, that's why I'm so honored to be joining you for the 10th Asian Development Bank event. Thank you again for inviting me. But we have to create that awareness that there are opportunities. So one of those is going around and speaking and sharing information. The second step is how do we create access points? So some of those access points could be partnering with NASA on education or their tech transfer office, same thing with the European Space Agency, or we could look at other areas. Can we create incubators and accelerators with partner banks or universities to help entrepreneurs harness space innovation and technology to bring it to market here on Earth? So we need to look at how do we create access points, such as signing memorandums of agreement, creating partnerships. Now that third step is training. So if you want to be an astronaut or a rocket scientist, you're going to need a formal education. But there could be other opportunities for formal or informal education, such as in the manufacturing sector. We know the supply chain is very broad, and we know during COVID how at risk it is. But there's a myriad of jobs in the supply chain that needs technical skills. So we need machinists and manufacturing in that supply chain. Those could be from high school graduates to PhDs, and that could be hands-on, on-the-job training or certificates from universities. So there's a lot of opportunities to do formal and informal education, internships, fellowships, as well as on-the-job training. That next step is building connections. So there are some great organizations out there to partner with. One is obviously Space Foundation, or G100. Some other organizations are the United Nations Office of Outer Space Affairs. They have some great programs for space and agriculture, space law, space and youth, space for women. So there's a lot of opportunities. There's also Space Generation Advisory Council that is for youth that are 35 and under to help facilitate and grow their careers in the space industry. There's Women in Aviation. There's Women Tech Network, and Women Tech Network is another global organization that's for women and diversity to come into the technology industry. And at Space Foundation, we have our Space Foundation International Teacher Liaison Program that opens up in the next year, 2024, where those individuals get to partner and work together, bring space-inspired curriculum into the day-to-day classroom to help inspire the next generation. Now that last step could also be the first step, and that's about building mentorships. And those could be role models, mentors, or champions. Now there are some great ways to create role models, and to be a role model. You can do that just by posting on social media, sharing information, sharing ideas with others, and they can follow you. LinkedIn is a wonderful way to do this. You can also speak at amazing events like this. I hope everyone is enjoying this presentation. And then if you want formal mentoring programs, you can do those through the United Nations Office of Outer Space Affairs Space for Women program or Women Tech Network. Now, although women is in the title, they are open to men and women to be mentors and proteges. You also have Space Generation Advisory Council has mentoring programs, and the Global Policy, Diplomacy, and Sustainability, GPODS, has a wonderful mentoring program. So again, sharing those opportunities. So now what is the next step we can do today for teachers, families, and communities? Well, if you're a teacher, you can partner with Space Foundation or other organizations to bring space-inspired curriculum into the day-to-day classroom, making learning fun, engaging, and relevant. If you're a community member, you can volunteer to be a science fair judge, you could be a guest speaker, you could be a mentor or a role model. We can create partnerships with your organizations and communities to bring our programs and other programs into your ecosystem. And for families, you can go out and stargaze. You can share inspiring stories about the career opportunities that are there. And together, we can build the ecosystem to inspire the next generation and this generation to fill the jobs. So if you'll give me one moment, that's the end of my formal slide presentation. I'd like to just come back to you and say, I hope you really enjoyed this presentation. I've enjoyed being with you. I look forward to joining you in person next year as we talk more about how space is part of our everyday lives, and there's an opportunity for you to be part of the space ecosystem. I'm Shelli Brunswick, and until next time, I look forward to seeing you around the galaxy.
Thank you so much, Shelli Brunswick, COO of the Space Foundation. I think some of you are now really inspired for a career change. Okay, so before I'm handing over to Ms. Ayako for moderating some reflections by ADB colleagues and by government representatives, I have to ask you to check in, if you haven't done it yet, via our app. I think by now you know how to do it. It's important for us that you check in so we can prove that we had the numbers of people. Okay, so please bear with us. As always, just go to your app, open it, 19th October attendance. There is this button, check in, and then write 19 Octo. Yes, that's. So if your battery is low, that can happen, but we hope that your energy is still high. Yeah. Okay. So while you're doing it, I also wanted to let you know there were some people asking questions about the videos. We are not putting them on YouTube. They are actually on the app and they are already there, right? Yes. So that means, of course, you can't download them via your usual YouTube channel, but they will be available for a long time on the ADB pages. So please bear with us, because if you are putting something on YouTube, you need to get the approval from everybody. And we didn't get the approval in that regard, right? So I hope this answers the question of many people. But we are very fast with putting up the videos, so they should be all there by the end of the day if they are not yet already there. Okay, so without further ado, it's time for some reflections, and I hand over to our Senior Director, Ayako Inagaki, and she will guide you through the reflection session. Over to you, Ayako.
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, I didn't know that the skill forum was taking us next year, maybe to a completely new dimension. So it's exciting, isn't it? Anyway, I know that it's going to be very, very difficult to summarize all the very rich dialogue session inside that, and the result of the networking that you have had. But each of you, I'm sure you have a very, very good takeaway that you're going to immediately start on Monday, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask ADB colleagues, 4 of them, first to to give takeaways from perhaps from the ADB point of view, and then I will turn to our 4 representatives from our client, our development member countries, also to share with us their key takeaways. Do we go up? Okay, so. Okay, thank you. Okay, so can I ask Gieson? So Gieson-son, you know her very well. She's leading our human and social development sector team in South Asia.
Thank you very much. I was asked to actually summarize or share my key takeaways for the day 2, which is like a climate change, which is big topic. And then there has been quite rich discussion, so it's quite difficult to summarize. But the key takeaways is from the keynote speaker, from Dr. Kelly. She was emphasizing that all aspects has to address to the point that the whole of society approaches has to be taken, because it's a global issue and the whole planet is being affected, and that everything we do is happening at the backdrop of a climate change. So she talked about all levels of education need to respond. It's not only just a school education or TVET or the university, but some of the speakers also have highlighted the need for upskilling and reskilling the existing workforce who are actually out of school, and then there are a lot more in terms of numbers. And then all disciplines need to be applied as well. It's not only about the climate science and environmental studies, but it's also about human being and the society. So we need to also consider, we need to learn the science, but we also need to understand what's the society and people and community is actually going through. Then, of course, all countries and all partners, several speakers also highlighted that it's not enough to know, but we should really help the people to act upon. So that's my takeaway.
Thank you very much. Excellent. And I'm sure, everybody agrees with your takeaway. Now, let me turn to Sophia Shakil, who is now leading the team covering the Central and West Asia as well as East Asia countries. Go ahead.
Thank you, Ayako. So I'm going to try to summarize some key takeaways from the Digital Transformation Day. We heard so many interesting, throughout the last 3 days, in fact, we've had so much exposure to so many innovations taking place and in digital technologies, artificial intelligence, and other digital emerging technologies. For me, there's one big key takeaway. Whether we are prepared or not, we're ready or not, digital transformation is taking place, and it is really impacting the way we as individuals function in society. What I heard most, I think that was a prominent takeaway from me, was from the Economist parallel session, which was really about the use of building up the skills of the knowledge of teachers, because the technologies are there, and unless we really put them to use and build up the capacity to use them, we're not going to see change. And I think that can be further elaborated on every front. Digital technology, especially artificial intelligence, the rate at which it is accelerating digital transformation and learning transformation is going to not replace the teacher and the learning in our classrooms, in our education system, but it is a co-pilot to help us steer through that. So the better we embrace these new technologies, it will help us improve what we're doing in terms of educating our children. The other aspect that I just wanted to highlight as a key takeaway is that on one hand, we've got teachers and schools which seem to be outdated, not keeping up. And then there's a lot of emerging technologies. We need to be cognizant of the fact that there's still a lot of inequities in access, in infrastructure. And it's really important that we keep that in mind as practitioners, as policymakers, that we always remain cognizant of those that don't have access to or the skills to fully benefit from this digital transformation. I'll stop there.
Thank you very much, Sophia. I like very much the word co-piloting, between teachers and education practitioners, and obviously the AI and those working in digital technology. And obviously, really the biggest challenge is how you really improve the equity of access to the best opportunities provided by digital technology. Thank you so much. Now, let me turn to Lynette Perez, who is our Principal Education Specialist in the team of Southeast Asia and Pacific countries. It's a big, big team.
Thank you so much, Ayako. And as our colleagues mentioned earlier, it's really very, it has been very exciting to hear all of you. And what I really wanted to emphasize as my takeaway is the importance of working intersectorally, adapting multisectoral approaches, and the importance of fully engaging with all our stakeholders and partners. Because it really, as we all know, it takes a village to educate a child. And so everyone has a stake in improving learning, improving the outcomes of learning, and also advancing innovation and boosting growth and productivity. And we have heard many of our partners, whether it's industry, the foundations, non-government organizations, the parents and the communities, and even yesterday, the students teaching us also. So it's really very critical that we engage, and we have an important role to play in terms of advancing climate solutions, building resilience, and boosting productivity. And so we would really like to thank each one of you for sharing your experiences and knowledge, but we are looking forward to continuing to partner with you, engaging with you, so that together we can achieve the outcomes that we have always been aspiring for. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lynette. It seems Lynette is already giving the closing remark for the forum. But what she said is really reinforcing what Gison said about the whole of society approach. We talk about climate change. We learn a lot that it's not only about science, it's not about engineers, it's really social science, it's really how you change the mindset of ourselves and the people. So we all need to work together. And we heard also about the challenges of universities facing, right? In putting together everybody so that at the end of the day, we provide opportunity for the young generation and existing generation also to embrace, well, what are the actions that need to be taken and contribute to the green economy. So now let me turn to Shanti. You know all Shanti, she's the brain and organizer of this skills forum, and then I'm sure she's going to tell us something transformative.
Thank you, Ayako. I'd like to make 2 points. One is that I think my main takeaway, which has also been reinforced through discussions in the recent past, is education has to be lifelong and life-wide. Lifelong education, I think we've heard a lot of things, and it's getting a new interpretation altogether, that it's more existential now, that without upskilling and reskilling, people cannot really survive in the workforce and be able to pivot and be able to be agile in moving occupations. So reskilling and upskilling is a mandatory. Life-wide means beyond education institutions, we also need to look at learning as it happens through other actors. So like Lynette mentioned, intersectoral approaches. So we need to also tap other sources of knowledge, private sector, communities, societal bodies. So what this really means is that we have to go beyond brick and mortar institutions. Of course, digital offerings are now very much a reality for each and every one, including offline participation, but long-term and short cycle courses as well. The second is that we need to think about a new vision for educational training institutions, like they are in the way they are set up, in the way they deliver training, embracing technology, immersive technologies, AR, VR, and how they deliver programs. And I think we also need to think about how they can partner with others. So I mean, we hear about co-working spaces, where we should also think about co-learning spaces, where education institutions can collaborate with scientific bodies, with libraries, with other agencies to make immersive learning more real and also bring education to the reality of the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shanti. Lifelong learning obviously is critically important, and I'm really glad that you mentioned about the role of the private sector, because they're really playing a very important role in, actually it's really a niche area when we're talking about what is new skills required. I think in Annie's session we talk about need for people's skills in coding, data analytics, but also really, the whole range of lifelong learning skills that the people require, the private sector are able to provide. So thank you so much. Now, may I just invite, yes, our DMC representative to sit. Can I invite Dr. Anju Sharma? Would you like to come on stage? She has been actually a very active participant, speakers, and she shares knowledge. She is the Additional Chief Secretary, Labor, Skills Development, Employment Department, the government of Gujarat in India. Then we have Director Caroline Moyaki, my apologies, Director Project Management and Coordination Division, Ministry of Education and Training, Kingdom of Tonga. Please come on stage. Then we have Ms. Nazish Amjad, Deputy Secretary, Economic Affairs Division of Pakistan. Please come to the stage. Then we have Ms. Farita Aldaba, Under Secretary, Department of Trade and Industry, Philippines. Yusek Fita, are you here? Okay, anyway, let me go up to. I love the gender balance here, by the way. I'm allowed to make this joke, right, Sung Sup? Anyway, so thank you very much for being such an active participant in this forum. And I'm sure that you're going back home with a lot of takeaway. But if you can, in 3 minutes each, possibly, share with the audience 1 or 2 key takeaways from the forum, what you want to do after you're going back, you go back to home. So maybe I can start with Dr. Anju Sharma.
So the key takeaway and what I have gained from this skill forum is the theme of sustainability and sustainability as a theme for skill development and sustainability in skill development. So sustainability as a theme is very important for us to understand that every resource that we have on this earth has to be utilized very well, and we should focus on developing skills and skill development to facilitate use of resources in the most sustainable manner. And what we see as climate change now is actually not happening because of nature, but it is happening because of the unsustainable and very much unresponsible activities that the world has taken up so far. So how we can change the patterns through the right skill development is one key takeaway that emerges. The second one is sustainability in skill development. A lot of organizations are working in the area of skill development. They have devised their own curricula. They have devised their own strengths. Network is net worth, they say. So we have to develop the right kind of networks for skill development so that all the abilities and the competencies that have developed in skill development by different organizations in the government sector, in the private sector, various kind of say hybrids between the two, all kind of organizations that exist. We have to bring them together as a network to share practices, to share our own strengths, and to collectively work towards a sustainable earth. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Sharma. I should call everyone by first name. Oh, my apologies, Anju. Now, and really sustainability in skills development. And I think you also shared during your presentation on how in Gujarat, you are actively working on that, right? And really coming up with really a good network so that actually skills development itself is sustainable, but skills development also leads to sustainability in the community and obviously empower the populations that you are working with. Sorry, thank you so much. Yes. Then, okay, so your first name. So, Carlo, can I turn to you and then share your key takeaway?
Thank you. I'm going to ask to break the rules. Because I'm representing the Pacific countries, I have prepared
Absolutely. Yes,
very
please
short
break the
speech.
rule for something good.
So,
yeah, a 3-minute speech. Yes, please.
so I can present our big takeaways from this forum. So I'm going to ask that I step onto the podium to present our little speech today. Please, sorry. Can I go there and present our... Okay, thank you. Bear with us. We have come half the globe to be here. So I want to make sure that all our collective thoughts are shared with you today. On behalf of the Pacific countries present here today, our distinguished Minister for Higher Education, Honorable Dawn from Papua New Guinea, I would like to extend our gratitude to the Asian Development Bank for the educational opportunity you have provided us. The theme of this year's forum, A New Era of Digitalized and Climate Resilient Human and Social Development, resonates profoundly with the challenges facing the Pacific region. At least for Tonga, which have over the past decade has faced a severe and extreme disaster event approximately every 2 years. The enormity of the climate change challenges and setback to livelihoods of families and households confronts our wisdom, our planning and strategy to prepare our countries, or simply put, our lacking in each of them. At the risk of being biased, I am easily convinced that the appropriate investment in education and skills training with a trusted partner such as our forum this week is not a bad start. Probably the best start for some of us, recognizing its urgency of addressing these issues and equipping our communities with the skills necessary for adaptation and resilience. This forum has indeed marked a significant milestone in our shared pursuit of a brighter, more resilient future for the Pacific and beyond. The knowledge we have gained here is invaluable in helping us prepare for the inevitable changes that lie ahead. Throughout the forum, we have had the privilege of learning from the experts and fellow participants from across the globe. The insights, the proposed strategies, and innovative approaches shared in all the sessions have been very educational. We have discovered new ways to harness digitalization, fostering innovation and promoting sustainable development in our Pacific countries. In this new era of digitalized and climate resilient human and social development, our commitment to education stands at the forefront of our efforts. We recognize the pressing need to use and utilize technology to equip our students with the knowledge and skills required to understand the intricacies of climate change and its concepts. The introduction of digital tools in our education system is more than just an upgrade. It's the transformative step that paves the way for a future driven by technology and sustainability. Through the forum's revealing discussions and valuable insights, we have developed a comprehensive perspective on the significant role of education in shaping the human and social development of our countries. Our goal is to ensure that our students not only grasp the challenges we face, but also empowered to contribute actively to solutions and innovation in this rapidly changing world. Furthermore, in the Pacific, we face unique challenges, but we are equally blessed with those unique opportunities as well. The lesson learned from this forum will be instrumental in our collective journey towards a more prosperous, resilient, and sustainable future. The exchange of ideas, the networking, and the collaboration we have experienced during this event are significant. It is not only the new ideas and concepts that we will take back with us to the Pacific Islands, but also the relationships and the partnerships that we will continue to grow, bridging the geographic distance that separates us. Lastly, on behalf of the Pacific team, I wish to extend my sincere appreciation for the remarkable efforts put by the Skill Forum organizing team, led by Ms. Shanti and Mr. Per, along with their dedicated team members. The meticulous planning and dedication made this event an outstanding success. From the impeccable organization to the warm hospitality expanded to us, the Pacific team. We are deeply grateful for the gracious luncheon hosted by Her Excellency Leah Coteres, the ADB Director General for the Pacific Department, which was a wonderful gesture of friendship and collaboration. The bonds of friendship we have forged over the last 3 days are precious to us. Looking ahead, we envision a future of continued collaboration and participation. We hope that this marks the beginning of a lasting tradition where ADB extends invitations to the Pacific region for all the upcoming Skills Forum. We also aspire to see familiar faces return as participants, fostering an enduring sense of community and shared learning. It has been an outstanding event, great organization, great food, great people, and what more can we say? Everything is great about Manila, but ADB is even more greater. We have been inspired by the commitment and dedication of all the participants, including our esteemed host at ADB. On a more personal note, my husband is a former ADB staff, speaks of no other international agency but ADB. Now, I am a converted also as an ADB fan. And Her Excellency Leah Gutierrez was his former boss. So greetings from Tatafu, Leah and your Pacific Department of ADB. Thank you for your warm welcome and the friendship we have formed over the past 3 days. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you. Thank you, Drew. Fafetai Lava. Vinakanaka Levu, Malo Aupito. And thank you from the Pacific team.
Thank you very much, Carlo and the Pacific team. I think Sung Sup, we are done with the closing. She did a really wonderful, such a comprehensive summary of, I hope all of you have learned through this skills forum about, how you have to drive education reform to be climate resilience, what's the best smart use, and perhaps we talked about baby step also, no? Step toward a better use of digital technologies. I'm always impressed by the camaraderie and then the sort of group spirit that the Pacific countries come together in this kind of international event. So really extremely good. And thank you very much for the word for ADB. I think this is where we get inspired to work more, right? I'm looking at Lynette, Sophia, and Shanti and Kisun. Okay, let's move on. So Najis, any takeaway from your side?
Thank you so much. First of all, I would like to thank ADB for inviting me to this forum. This forum has been a great opportunity for me to interact with wonderful people that are present in this forum. And also, this forum has provided an excellent case for assessing the need for digital transformation and how education is an enabler for the just transition. The need for upskilling and the importance of investment in skill development is critical for achieving the transition to green economy. So the most important takeaway that I'm going to be taking to my home country is that strengthening and investment in human capital is critical to achieve sustained and equitable human and social development. Investment in human development requires investing in digital transformation, in skill development, and educational reforms. However, just as a representative from the developing member countries, I would just like to make an observation with regard to the proceedings of the forum, was that most of the focus of all the interventions that we saw during this forum were towards the developed part of the world. Those interventions did not specifically cater to the vulnerabilities or to the gaps that exist in the developing part of the world. For instance, we in the developing part of the world do not have access to resources that the developed part has. We are not, there's a technical divide, there's a digital divide, there's a gender divide. So we lack on many fronts. So therefore, if this forum could have addressed, or it could have provided some practical solutions or practical answers to how could we address these divides in order to secure more equitable and sustainable development. So this is one important point that I wanted to raise, that we, like yesterday, we saw some brilliant examples wherein the digitally transformation is taking place in skills training, and also in there are applications being developed for teacher training and also imparting education to the students. However, there are certain things that should be more specific to the needs and vulnerabilities of the developing part of the world. So in order to address the divide that exists between the developed and the developing world, I feel that there should be more collaboration. The developed and the developing world, they need to come together and bridge the gap that exists through more collaboration, through more affiliation, especially when it comes to skill training. I would like to highlight that if our institutes, our technical training institutes are affiliated with those training institutes of the developed countries, it would be more productive in bringing a workforce that possesses green skills, as well as those skills that are required in the future. Secondly, there's also a need for the knowledge transfer that is predominant in the developed world to the developing countries, because I understand that a lot of research and development has already been done and is currently in process in the developed countries. So there is a need that a transfer of this knowledge should be a pipeline to the developing countries, especially Pakistan. So, and secondly, there needs to be global recognition of the fact that climate change is real and it is impacting lives of many people. Especially, I would like to present a case of Pakistan, that it is out of a rank of 181, Pakistan ranks at 150 out of 181 countries in terms of its exposure to climate vulnerability. The recent floods of 2002 further augments the risk that Pakistan faces in terms of climate change. 33 billion people have been affected by the recent floods. So this requires the attention of the developed world to help the developing countries in mitigating the effects of climate change, as well as to take measures to adapt to the changes coming from the climate change. So these are my takeaways from the International Skills Forum, and I look forward to more collaboration and partnerships with the other member countries in our endeavor to move towards green economies. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Excellent point, Najish. And then I think those are, excellent, lessons and key takeaway that, I think as ADB also, how, we can facilitate more the collaboration between, as you say, the skills, experience of the developed countries and the particular challenges faced by the developing member countries. But also we need to be mindful that within the developing member countries, there are differences in country contexts. So I think we also need to have what we call in ADB a differentiated approach to the needs and context of each country. But I think it's also very important, and I think you have done a marvelous job here, is really to learn among each other, because you have some common challenges, right? In terms of access to resources, when it comes to, digital divide and so on. So I think I hope that you were able to, learn some of the sort of common, constraints, but also some of the practical solutions that other countries are also experimenting also through this skills forum. So excellent. Thank you so much. So Yusek Fita, you have been always so proactive as a speaker and so any key takeaway from you?
Thank you very much, Ayako-san, and good afternoon, everyone. I would just want to take a brief moment to express my gratitude to ADB and to Ayako-san in particular for inviting me to be part of this wonderful and amazing summit, International Skills Forum. And probably I would just want to focus my key takeaways on AI in education. AI has a lot of potential to bring about positive change if we're able to develop it correctly. And the wide use of AI actually represents a big window of opportunity for all countries to leverage, especially on our existing comparative advantage. Through AI R&D, for instance, we would be able to address our problems and issues in education, as well as problems in the economy, environment, and other health problems, and be in a position to create more innovative goods and services to finally eradicate poverty. And using AI also, we can provide solutions to problems and challenges faced by our MSMEs, large enterprises, including government agencies. AI in education brings about opportunities and challenges, including the digital divides, ethical issues, and the need for new policies. AI in education holds the promise of personalized learning and improved outcomes, but it must be implemented responsibly with careful consideration of the digital divides, ethical issues, and appropriate policies to safeguard both students and educators. And to take advantage of these opportunities as well, I'd like to focus the need for us to equip the workforce. We need to have future-ready skills in an AI-powered future. And let us continue to engage in public discussions such as this on AI specifically, as well as on the other new technologies, to ensure that the benefits are understood by as many people as possible. Let us remember that AI is just a tool. AI is not here to destroy jobs or to replace humans, but to create new jobs and change what work looks like, augment human intelligence and skills, and make our workplaces safer. Overall, a lot of challenges remain, but there are clear pathways and initiatives that can lead to a future where the workforce is where the workforce can have newer opportunities. Collaboration, both local and international, and a keen focus on upskilling and reskilling seem to be the key to navigating this evolving demands successfully. Public-private partnerships could be the linchpin for meaningful progress. Employers and the government each have roles to play, whether through mandated trainings, financial incentives, or information dissemination. Industry stakeholders, including the government, employers, and education institutions, will need to work together to address the challenges and opportunities. And I look forward to collaborating with all of you in implementing activities and programs to bridge the skills gaps and foster a more inclusive and competitive workforce and strengthen innovation, entrepreneurship, and R&D commercialization.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Vita. I think in one of the sessions, we talked about how we can democratize AI in a sense that how we make AI more accessible, maybe sort of friendly to as many population as possible, but taking into also account very much that there should be a step toward that, and that we cannot really expect that everybody is going to be, to be accessing AI in a sort of very optimal manner. And then we also have to take it about the many of the challenges that, as Najid said, the developing member countries is facing. But it's really about optimizing, taking step by step a way toward optimizing the use of digital technologies to provide opportunity for the younger generations as well as the existing generation. So thank you very much for our speakers or for our colleagues who have given key takeaways for the Skills Forum. So from my side, just maybe only one thing. We started the Skills Forum by really talking about climate change in education. And if I'm not mistaken, Shanti, is probably the first time in the 10 years of Skills Forum that we brought the issue of addressing climate change in education and training. So as I think was you, Najibu, said, first of all, to recognize as an education community that climate change is real, and we really have to take the urgency of that, right? I think it was Lynn who mentioned in the first day, let's be a little bit critical to ourselves. Perhaps the education system is always a bit behind, right? That we're a bit slow to address, to be agile and flexible enough to address the urgent global challenge that the world is facing. So it's our responsibility now that we finish these 3 days, how we can really integrate climate change into our curriculum. And this is not about just, STEMs and science and environment teachings and so on the way that I think as we discussed also that the students are looking for something that they can take action. So they feel responsible because climate change is really happening, and really, how to take action themselves when they become adult, right? To take the action necessary to mitigate, also to adapt themselves to the world of, evolving, changing world, which is going to be a green economy. So that's very simple sort of summary from my side. And then we look forward to see you, of course, today, but also in the next couple of weeks also when you go back home, and on Monday you will start calling Shanti, Lynette, Sophia is not there, and Gieson, so that you can ask more questions. And Najib, I'm sure you're going to follow up with, us again, no? Definitively. So we look forward to that. So thank you very much again, everyone. Yes, you want to have the last word?
I'll take just a minute to thank the entire ADB team for organizing this lovely 3-day seminar. It's been really an enriching experience for all of us, and I especially speak on behalf of the Indian delegation. We have felt, and of course, on behalf of the entire crowd, that we have felt as a family the last 3 days, and it feels as if we are all a part of the ADB per se. So at no point we have felt that we are away from home and in a foreign country, or it's been like a very, very familiar and comforting and very enriching experience. So thank you, ADB, and thank you especially ADB team for making it happen. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Coming from our partner, this is really the best word that we can get, right, Shanti? Thank you so much. And you are part of ADB in a sense, you are partner, because we are talking about partnership and collaboration. So now you are a big family, and family always come to get together, right? So thank you very much again from my side.
Thank you very much, Ayako. Thank you very much from our colleagues from India, Tonga, Pakistan, and the Philippines. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. Yes, please give them a hand. So we are coming in a moment to the official closing remarks. And then we have 2 more small things to do, and then we all go for our well-deserved lunch. But I think one thing you learn about the Philippines, there is never a lack of snacks. So I'm pretty sure you're not in a forum where you say, oh, I'm so hungry, I need to eat. So, okay, thank you so much. And I have the pleasure now to hand over for the last time. He's no stranger to you because he moderated 2 sessions. So I hand over to the Deputy Director General and Deputy Group Chief at the Sectors Group of ADB. Please welcome Sumsup Ra for some closing remarks.
Dear participants and also leaders and colleagues here, as we conclude this inspiring and enlightening ADB International Skills Forum, let me express my sincere gratitude to all of you for your active participation and dedication to the cause of the finding, digitalized climate actions, and also interdisciplinary approach for the skill development and education. A while ago, Ayako told me make it very short. So I tried to cut now, also 3 minutes also you. So I will say, by the way, this conference, Ayako described so well. I like that what you said. This is first, our skills forum really discusses about climate change. This is like simple thing, but she iterated, explained this very well. In the education sector and skill development, while climate change is real, such important, really, we didn't really discuss that one that seriously. But now, all of you together, we discuss that issue, brainstorming, and try to find out action, right, in the various ways. So I really congratulate, thanks all of you. As Ayako mentioned, you are not just participant, not the leader from your home institution, you are family, ADB family and the ADB ambassador. So all of you, I can give the certificate in my heart, or do you? You are the ADB ambassador and the family. So when you go back, we talk about that to your family also, about importance of this one, the climate change. And also, we are in the era of the digital transformation. We have to really mainstream integrate those two changes into your home and your family, your institution, your country, also beyond Asia and beyond, and also the globally. We have it now here total of the 1,501. So someone already, Jeffrey already counted everyone. She is a computer digital guy, so he counted it. According to him, we have 751 in-person participants and 750 virtual participants. It's really huge. And then I can see many of you really actively participate and raise hand, and it's just, you were part of the whole process. So I'd like to congratulate all of you. I'd like to also thank to the ADB management team and also all ITD, Information Technology Department, Corporate Service Department, and also Department of the Communication and Knowledge Management team, and also particularly to the Special Cultural Event team, who had brought the excellent local artisan food, and also dancing, and then also I see that Nepali team also danced really hard. So congratulations. Yeah. And also the supporting group, the Jost Wagner, and also the Seven, Audrey, Pushpan, creatives, all those really helped us. Without their support, this won't happen. She mentioned about great food, but I can add more. Yeah, great people in Philippines. Such a lovely hospitality we have here, and also we have great people also. So now we are all connected, and then as I said that we are now the family. Now I want to also again thanks to the organization team here, that the all education team led by the Ayako and Santi. Can you stand up? Here I can give you the Jeffrey, Patty, Chong, Michelle, the Santi, Bio, Banji, all those, and the Maro, well that, the excellent job, you guys. All education, you are not education team, by the way. I didn't know that. You stand now. Okay, so excellent job. Yeah. Let's give a big applause to them. Applause to them. We are now all connected. Now you have very safe trip. Let's also connect, continue to connect. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Sung Sobra. This was very agile. And now we are going to come to the last three-step approach. Number one is we have a small video for you for 2 minutes with photos. We apologize if you don't feel like you're looking good. We can't, our digital skills are not good enough to Photoshop. Maybe they are, but actually. So please enjoy 2 minutes video.